Good morning. This is March 26th, Thursday, and this is the video for Class Piano 4. The new item today that I will post on D2L shortly is starting to harmonize with secondary dominants. So we will get to that in a minute. Aside from that, I'd also would like for you to practice your three-voice scores, especially Liebeslieder example, soon, and Ai Triste, because we will have a quiz over those at your assigned meeting time next week, so March 31st and April 2nd. You also need to continue working on your B-flat minor, on Lightly Row, the accompaniment for Nel cor più, and your transposition from the instrumental scores I had handed out, the Carnival of Venice and the Mozart Serenade. But the only new thing to hand out today is our secondary dominant harmonization. So the first example I'd like for you to take a look at is the one that's headed secondary dominants. Right, this page looks like this. And we will pay particular attention to those first 5 lines on the page and not really worry about the stuff at the bottom. Okay, so a review from theory. Secondary dominants involve a dominant 7th chord of a temporary tonic. So let's say we're in C major. In C major, our 4th scale degree, let's say, is F. Right? So that is our 4 in C major. Now if we consider that F, that 4, a temporary tonic, and we look for its dominant, we would go up to C and say, okay, C, dominant 7th chord, is the 5/7 of F. Okay? The easiest way to find the 5/7 of any temporary tonic is the same way that you would use the 5/7 or 5/6/5 in your normal cadences. So in C major, if you're trying to find the 5/6/5 of F, which is your 4, you'd say, okay, F is here, this is my F chord. Where is its dominant? If I pretended it is the 1, it is the temporary tonic, where is its 5/6/5? Well, it'll be right here. E, B flat, C. It's what we normally do. Or in the left hand, if this is my 4 chord, it's F in C major, it's my 4 chord, how do I find its dominant 7th? I'll pretend it's my 1 in a cadence and find its 5/6/5 by going down with the bottom note and playing the top 2 notes of that F position. Okay? So if you take a look at your secondary dominants handout, the first one discusses the 5/7 of 4, exactly what we just talked about. So the 5/7 of 4 in C major, 5/7, and C, E, G, B flat, resolves to F major. But as you see the next 3 chords on that line, it's easier to just think, okay, my F major is now my temporary tonic. Its 5/6/5 is here, as I would do in a cadence, and back to it. So if I thought in C major I want to find a 5/7 or 5/6/5 of 4, I would just go to this chord, E, B flat, C, and then resolve to my 4. One important note is that a secondary dominant always has to immediately resolve to its temporary tonic. So if I play a 5/6/5 of 4, my very next chord has to be the 4. It needs to resolve to its temporary tonic. If you take a look at the B flat that's circled at the very beginning in the first chord, most of these secondary dominants, if not all, have sort of a dead giveaway. So if in a C major piece you see a melody that uses a B flat, that should be a clue to you that you have a 5/7 of 4. So a lowered 7th scale degree, a B flat, means that you probably have a 5/7 of 4 in that key. That's why I circled that note there at the top. If we move on to the second line, in C major, we're trying to construct a 5/7 of 5. So our 5, our fifth scale degree in C major is our G. So here's our G major chord. We need to find a dominant of G major chord. So a dominant of G major would be D7. So we need our D major chord and a minor 7th on top. So D, F sharp, A, C is our secondary dominant, is our 5/7 of 5, which is G major in the key of C. But again, it's easier to find this if I pretend that G major is my temporary tonic. So G major is my temporary tonic. Now if I were to do a cadence in G major and find its 5/6/5, I would play F sharp at the bottom, C, then D, and go back to G. And again, remember that the secondary dominant always has to resolve immediately to its temporary tonic. So if I use in C major, if I use a 5/6/5 of 5, my next chord has to be the 5. You'll notice that if we're in C major, in this second line, there's some F sharps. That F sharp, which in C major is a sharp 4th, that is my giveaway that there's probably a 5/7 of 5 going on in this melody. Okay, so just like the B flat was a giveaway that the melody probably uses a 5/7 of 4, this F sharp or sharp 4th scale degree is a giveaway that the melody probably uses a 5/7 of 5. The next line is your 5/7 of 6. So in C major, our 6th chord is A minor. If we think of A minor as a temporary tonic and we think where its dominant would be, it would be an E7 chord. That's what your third line starts with, an E7 chord. Major triad, minor 7th on top. But again, it's easier to just pretend we're doing a cadence in A minor. So since A minor is our 6th chord in C major, we pretend we're doing its 5/6/5 from the cadence, and so we end up with a G sharp, D, and E, going back to A minor. Okay, so 5/6/5 of 6 in C major, resolving immediately to 6. So here, our dead giveaway for 5/6/5 of 6 is the appearance of a G sharp, which is a sharp 5th scale degree. That is your sign for a 5/6/5 of 6. The next line involves a 5/7 or 5/6/5 of 2. So our temporary tonic in C major is our 2 chord, which is a D minor chord. So if D minor is our temporary tonic, we work up from that, or down, and we think its dominant is an A major with a minor 7th. So here's our A7 chord. This is our 5/7 of 2 in C major. So we're going to take that chord, resolve to its temporary tonic, which is D minor. Now let's do it in cadence form, which is easier. So here's our 2 chord. We pretend it's the temporary tonic. We do its 5/6/5, C sharp, G A, and go back to D minor, because we have to resolve the secondary dominant to its temporary tonic immediately. So 2, 5/6/5 of 2, back to 2. Here, the note that's out of place or not part of the C major is the C sharp, right? So if we have a sharp 1 scale degree, that is a hint to us that there's probably the use of a 5/7 of 2 in this example. Last one is the 5/7 of 3, really pretty rarely encountered. But if we're in C major, our 3 chord is E minor, right? That's our 3 chord, that's our temporary tonic. So E minor has a dominant 7th of B7. That's what that last line starts with. So B7, B, D sharp, F sharp, A is your temporary secondary dominant of 3. Okay, so 5/7 of 3 3. But if we do again 3 as a temporary tonic and we pretend we do a cadence on it, and then go to our 5, 6, 5 of 3 and back to 3, there's our 3 to 5, 6, 5 of 3, back to 3. So in this case, you'll notice that we have a D sharp and an F sharp in this 5, 6, 5 or 5, 7 chord. And those in C major are a sharp 2 and a sharp 4. So those are your hints that if you're encountering a sharp 2 and a sharp 4, you have 5, 7 of 3 being used in this example. Alrighty, if we take a look at the next 2 pages that I uploaded, one of them is just a closer walk, and then there's a second example at the bottom of that page. Just a closer walk gives you the harmonization already. Then the bottom one is the one that I want you to really focus on because it's the one that uses secondary dominants. They want you to use a 5, 7, a 5, and then a 5 or 5, 7, and a 1. So every time you use your 5, 7, a 5, you have to resolve to the 5 immediately afterwards. Sometimes, if you're confused about where to use the 5, 7, a 5, you might find a good place to use your 5. And then back up one chord and see if the 5, 7, a 5 might just work well right before that 5. And then the last page that you have has Red River Valley at the bottom, and it asks you to use secondary dominants. Top example on that page is one that's written out. It includes some 5, 7 of 4s and 5, 7 of 5. So they're already telling you how to use those. And then at the bottom you'll have to figure them out on your own using a 5, 7 of 4. So again, if you're looking at an example and you're not really sure where to use the 5, 7 of 4, you might find a good place to use the 4 chord, then back up a chord and see if the 5, 7 of 4 would work well there. I do not need you to use those chords in root position. You can use 5, 6, 5 instead of 5, 7 at any point that's comfortable for you. So, if we were to look at an example that requires us to use a secondary dominant, we'd want to pick the chords that are easiest first, and then any questionable spot we might look to see if that secondary dominant would work. And it's very good to use the temporary tonic, like in this example you would use the 4 chord, and then see if the previous chord would work as a 5, 7 of 4, since the 5, 7 of 4 always has to resolve to 4 right away.